Jon Bones Jones versus Francis the Predator. Oh, my bad. The Predator Ngannou. This is the kind of fight that makes casuals scream, "Just bleed," and turns hardcore fans into full-time data analysts, running UFC simulations like they work at NASA. This is the ultimate clash of styles. Arguably the most complete fighter in MMA history versus the most terrifying puncher to ever step foot in the octagon.
Fight!
What happens when a genius fight IQ meets nuclear warhead fists? Let's break this down, MMA nerd style. Let's start off with Jon Jones' biggest problem, Ngannou's knockout power. Francis Ngannou doesn't just punch people, he deletes them from the timeline. His punches have been measured at a whopping 96 horsepower. That's not a punch. That's a whole physics experiment. Remember Ngannou's second fight with Stipe at UFC 260? Stipe, the former heavyweight champ, got caught by a deadly left hook, collapsing as if he had just lost connection to his controller mid-game. Another one of Ngannou's most famous knockouts came at UFC 218 against Alistair Overeem, where he landed a big shot on the chin, finishing him in under 2 minutes of the first round. This guy's lethal.
Fatality.
Keep in mind, these are some of the best fighters in the heavyweight division we're talking about. But if that wasn't enough, in 2023, Ngannou decided to step into the boxing ring with Tyson Fury, and somehow, in my opinion, almost outboxed the heavyweight champ in his very first professional boxing match. Let me say that again. Francis Ngannou, a dude who learned to throw a jab like 5 years ago, knocked down Tyson Fury and arguably won that fight. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Jon Jones is not exactly known for being the best at protecting his chin. He has been hit multiple times before, but Jon Jones has never been knocked out. Hell, he's never even been knocked down. And trust me, people have tried. Dominic Reyes clipped him at UFC 247. Even Alexander Gustafsson gave Jones a tough challenge, lighting him up in their first encounter at UFC 165. Keep in mind, those were 205ers, but Ngannou is no 205er. If he connects clean, it's night-night. All right, let's talk size. This isn't skinny light heavyweight Jon Jones anymore. This is buff Jon Jones, who apparently spent 3 years eating steaks and deadlifting small buildings. At light heavyweight, Jones was a towering figure with his 6 feet 4 inches frame and 84.5-inch reach, giving him a massive advantage over most opponents. But now, in the land of giants, Ngannou stands as his equal. Same 6 feet 4 inches height, and 83-inch reach, but a whole lot more horsepower. Ngannou walks around at a terrifying 290 pounds of raw muscle. This guy has to cut just to make the 265-pound heavyweight limit. Meanwhile, Jon Jones fights at around 250 pounds. While he may be smaller, this can definitely help him avoid gassing out as quickly in the later rounds, capitalizing on the tail end of the fight. But that being said, Ngannou's size isn't just for show. It gives him monstrous knockout power. If he connects clean, he doesn't need 5 rounds. He needs just 5 seconds. Just ask Junior Dos Santos. While Ngannou's raw power is terrifying, Jones's extra 1.5 inches of reach still gives him an edge. In a game of inches, that tiny advantage could be the difference between eating a punch and landing one. Just look at what he did to Olympic wrestler Daniel Cormier. Jones kept him at bay with oblique kicks to the knees, front kicks to the body, and high kicks to the head, like a human cheat code for distance control. If he can do that to an elite grappler, he'll definitely have plenty of tricks ready for Ngannou. But here's where Jones truly has the ace up his sleeve. It's his wrestling. He tossed around guys like Rashad Evans, Chael Sonnen, and Ryan Bader like they were stuffed animals. If there's one thing we've seen, it's that Ngannou does not like fighting off his back. The first time he fought Stipe Miocic, he got dragged into the deep end and looked helpless. Now, has Ngannou improved his wrestling? Absolutely yes. Just look at his fight against Cyril Gane, or his takedown defense in the rematch against Stipe. But at the same time, has he fought a wrestler like Jon Jones? Absolutely not. Jon Jones was a junior college All-American national champion in wrestling. Oh yeah, and he even out-wrestled Daniel Cormier at times. It's safe to say that if he gets Ngannou to the mat, it's not just a takedown. It's a one-way ticket to a very long and very miserable night for the big man. If Jones survives the early storm, he could absolutely take Ngannou down and make him wish he was back in Cameroon building sandcastles. Another thing Jon Jones has in spades is experience. He's been in the game for years, against some of the best to ever do it. He's been fighting at the highest level since MySpace was still a thing. Not only is he the youngest UFC champion of all time, Jones has also been in the cage with every light heavyweight legend you can name. Daniel Cormier? Beaten. Shogun Rua? Beaten. Rampage Jackson? Beaten. Glover Teixeira? Beaten. If you had clout at 205, Jon Jones already ruined your career. Meanwhile, Ngannou started MMA at 26. But don't get it twisted. Ngannou is an incredibly fast learner and a natural powerhouse who went from novice to world champion in record time. Jones may have the edge in experience, but will it matter when there's a fridge flying at his face at 30 miles per hour? All right, let's cut through the noise. Who actually wins this fight? I've got Jon Jones winning this fight. Not because Ngannou isn't a monster, or because I want Dana White to sponsor me, but because Jones has the perfect tools to shut him down. He's got elite wrestling, fight IQ, and range control. Yes, if Francis lands clean early, it could be game over, but Jones isn't going to stand and trade. He'll chop Ngannou down with kicks, drain him with takedowns, and by round 3, I believe that Ngannou's Category 5 Hurricane will be downgraded to just a simple drizzle. Let's hear it. Who do you got winning? Like the video if you think Ngannou knocks out Jones. Comment if you believe Jones gets the win with his wrestling. I know who Dana White's got. I'll see you in the comments, buddy.